We are live at the Alibi Tiki Lounge. It is Tiki with Ray.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming out. This means a lot to me. Today we're going to talk about the origins of Tiki Kon here in Portland, Oregon, which has been going on for several years now. So we're going to talk with Craig and Heather about how they started doing it. So let's get the show on the road. So Heather, Craig, thanks for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us. Hey.
Yes. Yeah, so not a lot of people may know this, but actually you two are the first people that put on Tiki Kon.
Technically, but yes and no.
Well, let's hear the rest.
So the origin is that Tiki Kon used to be called Northwest Tiki Crawl.
Northwest Tiki Crawl?
Northwest Tiki Crawl.
Because it was a bar crawl.
Because it's a bar crawl.
Oh,
right. but a home bar crawl rather than.
Oh, a home bar crawl, not
yes.
Because I was going to say, all you're going to go is the Alibi and Thatch, I guess.
Right at the time. And that was 2003 was the first time that was started.
Yeah, and it was the Jasmine Tree. Thatch wasn't even around yet. It's the Jasmine Tree and the Alibi, and that's it. Can you have a crawl with two bars? We did.
No, well, hold on. Before you go any further, for a lot of people that maybe might not know this, but what is the Jasmine Tree?
Oh, the Jasmine Tree was a great bar, a Chinese bar down across the street from Portland State. And when Stephen Crane's Kon-Tiki went out of business or closed in 1979, 1986, something like that, the Jasmine Tree bought all of the stuff from the Kon-Tiki. So they had all this amazing old tiki stuff in there. And it was a delightful bar. It was decorated delightfully.
How were the drinks?
The drinks were, they were fast and strong.
Did you just say fast and strong?
That's what I want to say about it.
And of the era that you could find the same sort of drink. Yeah, so it wasn't anything different or unusual that you would find in any sort of dive bar that had sort of tropical drinks of that era.
No. So when you're
so they weren't.
What are we talking? Like what years are we talking?
Oh, well, I think the Jasmine Tree closed down in 2006 or something, but I think they've been there since probably the 70s or 80s. It was a giant bar, which was funny.
Yeah.
It had a giant kitchen. They had delicious, super American Chinese food, very strong drinks. I don't know. It was a fun place. They were so nice and always very welcoming to us. And I think to them it was a real novelty that people were into tiki because they had no idea, because it was a dive bar, student bar, and it wasn't the kind of place where they had any idea what they had. They just thought, oh, I don't know, this is just the stuff on the wall. We don't even know what this is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And also in the back of the Jasmine Tree, they had a stage and an area for music, which was used the following year. So 2003 was the first year, and it was an event put on. We weren't in Portland yet. We were still in the Bay Area. We lived in Petaluma.
Where is that?
That is North Bay.
North Bay, okay.
Yeah, so it's Sonoma County. So you go north from San Francisco, and I worked in San Francisco. And we were involved in the tiki group there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I was going to say the tiki.
The tiki bar crawl from Tiki Central. So, and then we moved here up to Portland it was December 31st, 2003. It was New Year's Eve 2003 when we first moved in. And our first friends that we met here were already involved in tiki because we met them through Tiki Central, which is the bulletin board system at the time that everyone was using to chat about tiki.
And back then, that was pretty much the only thing online that you could go for any kind of tiki information, right?
Yeah, and still some real good sources if you want any, people who are still doing good research and aren't into social aspects. You can still find excellent information on Tiki Central still to this day if you do searching and look for info.
Oh my God, there is so much information on there. Well, like up in Seattle, there used to be a place called the Polynesia, which used to be on the pier, and there's pictures of it, and oh my God. And there is some pictures of the Kon Tiki from here? Or is it literally just that one?
That one picture is that one picture of the Kon Tiki, which is in Montreal. The outside is it, and then the postcard is like the only thing. And I have been looking desperately for pictures from the inside, but there's hardly any. Yeah, there's like none. There's a lot of text art, but not a lot of pictures. I mean, somebody's got it in their grandma's basement somewhere, but.
Is there anyone here that has been to that Kon Tiki here in Portland? No? No one. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
But so in 2003, I think around in September, the friends who we met, who then we became part of the group to what would become Tiki Kon, got together because they went to a polka festival all together. It was like a polka festival. It was half the group of friends all got together to do the polka festival and then a home bar crawl because a few of them had home tiki bars. So it wasn't really like a held event more than it was a bunch of people gathering that were sort of already knew each other through Tiki Central.
Okay, so what you're saying
and that
is
was 03, so it wasn't like an official event, but that was the first year of the Northwest Tiki Crawl.
So what you're saying at the very beginning, essentially, is just a bunch of friends saying like, "Hey, why don't we just kind of put this informal thing, where there was tickets being sold or anything like that."
Nope. And then the following year, we'd met them, and we were involved in a haunted house at the same time. One of the we should probably name them out. It was John Forsyth. Was the first one, like the first home tiki bar I saw where it was amazing and properly done. John Forsyth and Kitty, his wife. Mark Peterson also had his home bar. It was Noel Henneman and Kim Armstrong and Mark Axton, who had this amazing Castaway Cove, which is now no longer in existence. Right? Yeah, no, it's all right. To me, the theme, a lot of theme tiki is this leaving aspect of things that are going away and old, and nostalgia has a really good aspect to it. So, but
Stuff gets passed on.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. We have that's true. When John and his wife retired to Seaside, I think. They sold their house here in Portland where they'd have this beautiful bar, and he gave us a lot of stuff from the bar because they weren't going to take the bar with them. Paul Pimentel gave us a bunch of stuff when they moved to Hawaii, so a lot of stuff that we have in our bar is stuff that they had in their bar. So it is, and we have a lot of stuff in our home bar that's from a defunct commercial tiki bar. So it is a kind of cool, and the fact that the Kon Tiki went under and it went to the Jasmine Tree, and now it went to Thatch, and now it's at Halepele. It is kind of, I like that aspect of things that keeps getting passed on, and very Indiana Jones feel of like, this used to be. Should be in a museum.
Yeah, and you're talking about the three tikis that are behind the bar at Halepele.
yes, those were at the Jasmine Tree. So
And you said that they were at the
Kon Tiki. Those are from the Kon Tiki. And then 2004, and we had met. So then we had met the organizers of that event, the Northwest Tiki Crawl. We had just come up, and we had a tiki bar when we were in California. So we had a bunch of stuff when we moved out to Troutdale, and there was a tiki bar raising
Troutdale,
Oregon, right out the door. On the other side of Gresham, it's Troutdale. And so everyone I just mentioned came out to our house, and we put up our tiki bar in one day. Because we had all the stuff and all the paint and all the planning, and we just needed bodies, and it was like an Amish barn raising. Yeah, it was a tiki bar. And that's another, an origin story of what all of this group of people, crazy people who've been doing Tiki Kon, are people who love the creation and the support of the art form, or of the culture of building, and everyone working together in a community-minded situation. So.
Well, they wanted us to be on the bar crawl. That was why.
Okay.
It was like, we needed another home bar, so they were like, well, what if we all came out and put the bar together?
And they wanted to make sure it was done right too.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was just two of us, so it's hard.
Wow.
It was,
So no, wait, hold on.
And that's 2004, and then we were part of it as a home bar. As home bar hosts, we were involved with the event, and because they had decided that they wanted to turn it into more of a 2-day thing where they'd have a band, and that was the first year that there was a band, and they booked Lushy. Mark Peterson was responsible for that. So the first band that we had play for Northwest Tiki Crawl that became Tiki Kon was Lushy, and so we've been very happy.
Oh, where did Lushy play at? One of the
at
home bars?
Jasmine Tree.
Oh, at the Jasmine
Yeah, the
Tree.
Jasmine Trees. That was a Saturday night. So Sunday was the home bar tour, and Saturday
There was
night was the party and event and sort of a.
There was Lushy. There was Lushy. There was a surf band. There was hula dancers. Yeah, it was and
There was a mug.
there was a mug. Yeah, it was $40, I think, for the whole weekend.
So what?
Inflation.
So what you're telling me is
It
that
was like there were like 20 people. Yeah,
at the
it was good
beginning, it
times.
wasn't like centrally like located like at one place. It would seem like so the show was going to go here, the bars are going to go here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
a more, it just wasn't like a weekender event, which nobody had weekender events yet. I mean, car shows and Viva Las Vegas and stuff, but nothing like that here. In 2005 was,
Right, and so then
And you guys know it by the year now.
Yeah, well, yeah. I
had to
look
look it all
back
up,
and look
because
through all our
I-
emails and stuff.
Also, I should mention, if you go to tikikon.com, all of the old Northwest Tiki Crawl / Tiki Kon websites are still available. They were all kept up.
Are they really?
You can pretend it's 2005 and try to book your tickets. You can't book your tickets, but you could try. You could be like $39. What a deal!
All of a sudden,
It's a
they're
school
going to be
bus
getting
that-
messages like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
yeah. It's an unair conditioned school bus that takes you to one place. So sure, Greg would be happy to hook you up with a bus that takes you to one place and just leaves you there.
Oh, my goodness.
So the following year, we then, 2005, which is the year before it became
It's gonna
Tiki
take a
Kon.
long time, you
So
guys.
yeah, no, we'll sort of wade through some of the older years, but 2005 we were at the Jupiter Hotel, and so we finally had a hotel destination point where we have the bands play at in the outdoor area. We didn't have the Doug Fir. There we go. We didn't.
No, what's downstairs?
Yeah, the Doug Fir. Yeah, we didn't book the Doug Fir, but we had a destination hotel, and we that was the first year that we were part of the organization or organizing team. So we were a home bar tour hosts the following year, and then because these were our friends and these people that we hung out with all the time.
His wife, Daisy,
Kim Armstrong, Noel Henneman, Mark Peterson, and later Pam Peterson.
Yeah.
They were married. We had their marriage right here
Right here.
at the Alibi.
Right here at the Alibi.
Yeah. And so we had 2 years at the Jupiter, 2005, 2006, and that was I think 2006 was the first year that Monk Tiki came up to do. Yeah, and that was your first year where we met Aaron, right? Who would take over for Mark Peterson for the music portion when Mark had to leave and it couldn't be involved anymore.
How big was the event? Like, how many people are we talking?
We the home bar tour we shot for 50 people.
50.
50.
Yeah, we had one bus.
But for the weekender, we were looking more for like 100 to because not everyone would necessarily go on the home bar tour, but most of them did.
So back then, was that perceived as like a lot of people? Like, wow, there's 50 people coming out here.
Well, I think before people were more familiar with home bar events and tiki events, first of all, there weren't that many people who wanted to go on a bus to people's houses. People thought it was a weird idea. And second of all, we met a lot of, where there were only 2 or 3 tiki bars, so we had to sort of branch out and go to like other home bars. And so when you go to some very nice people like Stephen Neen, who had this beautiful house up on the ridge, and like they never heard of us at all, but they had this great sort of very vintage 50s bar. And if I come to them and say, how'd you like to have 50 strangers in your house? That'd be cool, right? It was like a hard sell.
No,
so,
I'll tell you what, like that is
I mean, it's
exactly.
not an easier sell now, I'm
And
sure.
God bless all of you that are open up your homes to the home
Yeah.
tiki bar tour, because that's asking a lot. And now it's not 50 people; it's like
Right.
200.
Well, and at that time,
At a time.
but at that time we also knew everybody. It was basically all the people that we knew. It was just a few people from out of town. It was just a lot. It was just a lot smaller. So it was an easier event to run because it was smaller, and I think we always sold out. But I mean, 50 people is not that hard to sell out.
No, not at all. Not at
I
all.
think is it 2006 that we did the Tonic Lounge and all that?
Oh no, Tonic Lounge was 09. Was 09 because it was 06 and then 07. Right? 06 is when it became Tiki Kon. So yes, 06 was at the Jupiter Hotel, and 07 was also, I think it was 3 years at the Jupiter Hotel. So now I did my research, and now I'm questioning myself because I know that
A lot of years, you guys.
It was-
a lot of drinking in between
Yeah.
the years.
it was in 2008 that Mark Axon couldn't be available anymore to do the main producing, and so we had to take over as main production in 2008, and that's when it was a question of whether it was going to happen or not. And I did a one-day event called Drunk on Tiki. And
Drunk on Tiki?
Yeah, and I had just been to Tales of the Cocktail, and I was getting involved in the craft cocktail movement at the time, so a main concentration on the event was to improve the drinks. Because this is, during the before times when now we're all very, very privileged to have excellent cocktails at anywhere that we go. Which it didn't used to be in the before times, which we were fine with, but we wanted to at least control one aspect to know that everyone had an actually quality made drink of something that is a Mai Tai, is a hurricane, is.
People didn't know that was just when people starting to find out about old tiki drinks and real things, and this was in the people don't like fresh lime juice era of
What?
that was Jimmy, who was the
People don't like fresh lime juice?
That was Jimmy, who was the bartender at the Jasmine Tree. He was a lovely man, very kind, but had very specific ideas about how tiki drinks should be made. And when you got a pina colada, you would get your Coco Lopez, and then he would take the pineapple chunk can and pour the pineapple juice from the can, and that would be the pineapple juice. So it had this lovely sort of metallic tang to it. And the first year we were there, we were really trying to be we were trying to be so nice, we just wanted to make these drinks so special.
We'll go ahead and we'll bring the fresh lime juice. We'll squeeze it ourselves. You won't have to do anything.
And he said, no, people don't like fresh lime juice. And we were like, okay.
Like, okay, all right.
So we didn't have fresh lime juice that year.
That's great.
Turns out people do like fresh lime juice, you guys.
Yeah, they do. So when did you start seeing the shift and the change of the drink quality? Was it 2003, 2004, or 5?
Oh, well...
let me think about that.
Because that's something I think about,
I think it's more about, 06, 07.
I mean,
08 is where it really hit, because I was involved tangentially. I was also involved in cocktail blogging at the time, and other online people who were doing cocktail studies, and we'd go to Tales of the Cocktail at the same. This was 08. Yeah. So I'd say 08, 09 is when things turned.
And the reason why I think about that is because Thatch has a place in my heart, because that was the first tiki bar that I went to, where I'm like, wow, these are actually really, really good drinks. Where before I drank because it got me drunk,
Yeah, and that took me joining Thatch and working with Zoran Matson, who was an amazing bartender at the time, but he's still, a bartender of a certain era, and trying to undo certain traits about how these drinks are made was sort of a difficult way to get someone to change their ways. But the direct influence of people like me and others who were very interested in bringing back this craft culture were instrumental in making Thatch even get to where it was. It could get even better, right, as it did, and then it got ultimately better as Halle Pele. It's a progression, but it took a lot of hard work and cajoling and.
Well, I know you were a bartender there.
I did bartending after Zorn left. I did bartending. I took some shifts, but I did more work after that. But so there was a menu that I had some drinks on at Thatch after Zorn left. Craig's Mistake.
There was a Craig's Mistake.
Yeah, Craig's Mistake and Dark Magic, which is one of my drinks. So I was more of a consultant. I did some shifts there. I was working on some web stuff for them.
Because I'll tell you what, and I mean this when I say this, you make some of the best tiki drinks I've ever had, period. I'm serious. And I mean, I'll never.
It just
forget-
takes good ingredients and technical know-how.
Yeah, I mean, you can
Stop being
make
so humble.
you can make a black magic. You know, and let's just say that. I mean, if anyone knows what a black magic is, it's a tiki drink that has coffee in it, and you make one that's amazing.
Well, yeah, and black magic, which my dark magic's a sort of a twist on that, which is also, to be honest, based off, of course, we all have to thank Jeff Beach Berry for everything.
Yeah.
There would be nothing if it were not for this one man, and he still does not get enough credit, which still is amazing to me because he's the guy.
So Jeff Beach Berry, if
Yes.
you're out there watching this video,
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
He's
thank you. Seriously.
and that's one of the recipes that he didn't allow out. So like, if you could figure it out or get it, or you weren't allowed to share it, I'd make it for you, but I wouldn't tell you how I made it. Until it got published, but I think that's now published through the Atomic Grog blog, which is another gentleman out in Florida who's amazing.
No, that's Jim
gentleman.
Hayward.
Yeah, he's super awesome.
Hurricane
Hayward, yeah. And so like, he's one of the people I used to chat with too, back in the online days.
Back on the online
For
days.
children.
So let's talk about how the home tiki bar crawl turned into Tiki Kon. How did that happen? Why was there a name change? Or was there a whole revamp in the entire thing?
Well, we wanted to. It wasn't, it was started as it was the first original home tiki bar crawl, but we didn't want to make an emphasis on it being a bar crawl, but rather a conference of where like-minded tiki people get together, and actually, and plus it's a cool name. I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kon Tiki Kon, flip it around. It was fun. It was Noel and Kim and I and Heather in our 70s rumpus room in Gresham watching Lost every Wednesday, planning Tiki Kon, where we were just talking about different naming things and arguing about whether it could be Venture to Darkness, Tiki Kon Venture into Darkness, or if it had to be Adventure. I forget, but there's lots of silly little arguments we would have. Venture into
Darkness.
Yeah, Venture into Darkness, and then Star Trek came out and proved me right about the name. It is a good name. But yeah, we're just floating topics
No, well, it's
around.
kind of a good thing because I bet you there would have been a lot of people like, they stole that from Star Trek.
Right. I think Mark Peterson came up with.
If you're a Trekkie.
What I was going to say was, at the same time, the barfly bar crawls were getting really popular, and I think that we wanted to make it clear that we were not that kind of bar crawl. It wasn't that kind of event where, like how drunk could you get at the first bar was sort of the goal.
No.
So we were trying to make it sound like more of a conference and less of a bar crawl.
And even at the beginning, were you doing symposiums and stuff like that?
Yeah, I forget when the first one. Or I always wanted to do symposiums, and when later on I would get that back in, but it was like, it was for a long time just the planning. It has just been the two of us for a little bit.
Literally, you two.
For not 10. Like later on, as far as like the overall structure, instead of assigning what needs to get done. Like
Okay,
we'll
alright.
have different chunks. But like then the rest of the structure of the event falls on those who are responsible to do it.
And did you start to do it like, okay, we're going to do it at a hotel? That's going to be the center.
Well, I was going to say for symposiums, in the beginning, we all knew the same amount. So we were all experts in as much information as there was out there. So it wasn't like, who would we give a symposium to? There was like 14 of us, and we all knew everything that had been posted on Tiki Central. So there wasn't anyone to teach anything new to.
So let me tell you about
a
it.
tour when it was like people who didn't know about people that we hadn't known for 10 years started appearing and being interested in this thing, and we were like, who are you?
Wow.
Never seen you before. And so that was like, that's when I think symposiums and stuff are more interesting, because otherwise it's just a bunch of people sitting around going, yeah, I know, and that's not exciting.
And there were 50 to 75 people, and we'd all talk already, and they're right. Once it got to more people, and in 2011, which was 10-year tour, which was the last year that we did the event before we handed it over to Greg and Justin.
Yeah.
I put it together so that I want a more traditional 3-day event at a large hotel at the Red Lion.
The Red Lion in Vancouver, right?
No.
There was another one.
Yeah, on the river, the Red Lion of the River. That was 2012. Oh, I'm sorry, 2012. 2012. 2011 was Taboo at the Masonic Hall in downtown Kenton. Sorry. I meant 2012 was the 10-year tour. Never mind. Thanks. No, 2011 was tough.
That was a tough year.
It was always difficult. We always had difficulty trying to find a location for the Saturday night party that fit in with what we could afford as the event, or that was available, or would allow us to do what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
So you're for that you're going to talk like about bands, right?
Bands, decor, decoration,
Yeah.
access control, liquor, catering.
No, and there's, I've seen some pictures and stuff like that where, and it was just exactly what you're saying in some of the early Tiki Cons where it was in different places. All right, Friday, something's going to go on here.
Well, Friday night used to be. We didn't do Fridays for a while. Friday we used to do a home bar party. I think we did it at Castaway Cove the first couple of years, which was Mark and Daisy Axton's house out in St. John's, which has sold tragically now. But they had this giant, what was like a wood shop or a barn, so they had a giant tiki bar, and a giant yard, and so we would have the Friday night there.
Yeah.
And then we started to do for a few years we did a more sort of adventure, a Portland adventure thing. Maybe my favorite year was 2007, 2006, where we were at the Jupiter, maybe 2007, and I bought everybody bus tickets, and we rode the 20 up Burnside, and we stopped at the Tonic Lounge, and we stopped at...
No, like a regular bus.
Yeah, like a regular, we're all in Tiki event. We would just do a dive bar crawl.
You wouldn't tell people where they were going.
And I didn't pay for, I was like, you
Great,
guys...
there you go, there's your,
Yeah.
you should use public transportation to get it.
Well, yeah, it was like 20 people on...
Give everyone bicycles and have them bicycles.
Oh, scooters! Yeah. We could have our first Tiki Con.
What could go wrong with that, right?
Yeah. The first Tiki Con death. It's not good. Yeah,
There hasn't been any deaths at Tiki Kon yet, right?
Not that I know of.
Knocking on wood.
Yeah, so we rode a bus. We went to the Pagoda, which is RIP the Pagoda. It's the fucking Key Bank now. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't swear.
Doesn't matter.
It's the Key Bank. Like, we need another bank. But the Pagoda was like an amazing Chinese restaurant in Hollywood. We peeked our head into Poor Richard's, also not there. God, there's so many good dive bars that are gone. And then one year we went to Kenton. We did the same thing. I think I put everybody on the max. And we went to the Kenton Club, and we went to
Bowling. Yeah,
Interstate Bowl, also RIP Interstate Bowl. God, is there nothing good left in this town?
That was 2009, one of my favorite themes,
What was
Tiki
that?
Speakeasy.
Tiki Speakeasy.
I wanted to imagine as if Polynesian pop cohabited during pre-prohibition, and you had to get in, and instead of it being like, where you got tea, it was like sort of tiki, and Tiki Speakeasy was... I've always just loved the language and playing with those.
It rhymes. Yes, we did end at the... nobody got that. I explained it... We explained it like 9 times, and everyone's like, I don't get it. And we're like, never mind. Yeah, we did end at the Dancing Bear, that one. I was like... This event doesn't end at strip clubs that often, I feel like. It's a pretty clean-cut event, but... Yeah.
Dancing Bear, like B-E-A-R?
B-A-R-E. It's
Like bare legs or bare body?
pretty much bare everything.
Bare everything.
The Dancing Bear is a establishment of Kenton. So we ended up in Kenton, and you have to go to the Dancing Bear. Very good food there if anyone's interested.
Welcome to Tiki.
Yeah.
Are you stop at a place called the Dancing Bear?
It used to be a family Italian restaurant, but it's not anymore. So Friday used to be a very sort of like, what can we put on for no money? Because we couldn't charge for Friday because people were already maxed out of the amount they wanted to spend on the event. So Friday was like more of a like, everybody come to this event. I'm not paying anything. I'm just here to be your tour guide, and we'll get on a bus and freak people out.
Well, I have a question about the home Tiki bar tours, because this is something...
One time we maxed out at 3. It was pretty exciting,
Wow.
guys.
So how were the drinks handled? Like, did each home bar owner have to supply their own booze and make the drinks, or was there sponsors that And have helpers that would come?
I would try to get
kind of like how it is now.
Yeah, I would try to get products possible, and depending on who was available to want to produce, or who to give us, we would build drinks around that. And mostly I took on that role of building all of the drinks and batching the drinks and delivering them to the home bars for production. So I sort of had a little control over that, perhaps a little iron hand, like, because I had a very specific vision about how I wanted the drinks to be produced. But you'd have to work around with what rum you would get, and some years were better than others depending on the different kinds of rum. But the great thing is you can make a good drink out of any rum. You just know what you're doing. Yeah, we've had Pirate, we've had Crucian, we've had. Well, everyone loves it when you put it in an orange curacao barrel, right? A little bit.
We have had red rum.
There was red rum. Cockspur, that was a great year. Yeah. 2008, Drunk on Tiki. Yeah.
Drunk on
Tiki. Yeah, that was the title there. 2009, Tiki Speakeasy. 2010, Atomic Tiki. 2011, Taboo. 2012, 10-year tour. 2013, Adventure Island. 2014.
It's the same words. It's like Taco Bell.
The Deep. Mysteries of the Deep.
It's either mystery, adventure, darkness.
Right? It's like you got the historical one, and you've got the underwater, forbidden, taboo, secret one, and then you've got the adventure one. It's sort of, what part of Disneyland?
So what was the...
What part of Disneyland? I want to be that spot right between the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse and Pirates of the Caribbean where you're near... Yeah.
Where you can hear the music and the line for Pirates, and you can also hear Swiska Polka behind you.
This is a very specific group that we're pitching this tour.
It's very specific.
Normal people are like, what are you guys talking about?
So, what was the last year that you guys were, your last year for Tiki Kon?
So, the last year where I felt responsible for making sure that it worked was 2012.
2012.
Where they handed it off to the extremely capable hands of Greg and Justin.
Oh yeah, Greg and come on.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Well, and it was such a joy, who we met. Yeah, right. I mean, you got the hot potato now.
No take backs.
But meeting them and learning that finding other people who really get it at a very visceral layer about the entire panoply of this thing we call Tiki, and plummet to its depths. It's just been really wonderful to see it.
I honestly think it's a special
we started.
event. I mean, just everyone I talk to says that they love that it's welcoming, it's low key. There's almost like a family feeling to it. And I love coming down to it. And did you, now fast forward to where we are at now with Tiki Kon. I mean, it's unbelievable. I would say this year's was the best. I mean, that bar was, that hotel was incredible. Did you foresee this going to how it's been? Or did you think it would have been something that would have just happened a couple of years and that would have been it? I mean...
No, I think you could see this, it happens. It's not like it's going to happen because it takes everyone's hard work and constant dedication and constant hard work. But, I guess, yes, definitely.
I mean, it got bigger every year, and more people are interested, and then Tiki started hitting like a more mainstream audience, and I think that it's, I'm probably prejudiced, but I think it's the best Tiki event in the country.
So actually, does anyone have any questions for Heather and Craig? Now would be the time to ask.
Thanks, Alex.
So they got a couple people up.
Who has a question? Yes.
What's your favorite bus joke?
Oh Lord. My favorite bus joke? Thanks all you guys for coming here. And now that I have you on this bus, I want to talk to you about someone really special to me. Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He wants you to know that he wants you to drink a lot of tiki drinks today and really enjoy yourself. And so, that one got new people on the bus every year because they were like, oh shit. We're trapped. I would drag it out. I'd be at the front of the bus like, does everybody have their water? And then I'd be like, so... Yeah. And the people, you could see the moment where they were like, oh no. Is this a cult? What is happening?
Is this a cult?
It's not. I mean, it is a cult, but like a nice one, not like a bad one. Yes.
Kim has a question.
Yes, Kim in the back.
Did you bring me any snacks?
I did not bring you. I did not bring you any snacks. What? No. Did you see my unicorn pudding from today? Yeah. Terrifying. What is food these days?
I know.
I have to drink my drink that Alex brought me. Thanks.
Any more questions at all? Oh, one.
Heather, say the line.
What? Oh.
What?
No, I have to. Yeah, you got to feed me your line. No, what you got to say is, you know what you should do.
Oh yeah, you know what you should do when you're running a tiki event?
You know, Greg, I look forward to attending your tiki event. That was what we used to say when people are like, I have a bunch of ideas for how you guys should do this, and I'm like, you know what? We got ideas. Ideas are not. We got them. But yeah, everybody always had a better idea for what they'd like to do, and I was like, and now it's true though. I look forward to attending your tiki event. It's not even bitchy. It's real.
All right.
It's bitchy and real, I guess I should say.
Kim has another question.
Yes, Kim.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I worked. I was a seasonal temp right out of high school, and I worked at Coke Terrace at Disneyland. I worked at Disneyland. The question was, Craig, what did you do at Disneyland?
You worked at Disneyland?
Yeah.
Okay.
I sort of like Disneyland was my church pretty much growing up in Southern California, and like I was there. Bosco. Yeah, like Bosco saying, he mentioned in his documentary that you never really questioned it when you were growing up about this tiki culture that was surrounding you, and when you growing up there, going to Disneyland, that was default, that was just normal, and this is what I expect, and it just resonates. So I had to work there because I had to just be there if I wasn't anywhere else, and so I worked at Coke Terrace. I flipped burgers in Tomorrowland Terrace, and I also did some busing service at Riverbell Terrace, and then I got invited back to work during the holidays to do crowd control for the parades on Main Street. So doing crowd control during the Christmas parade is like one of the most magical, it sounds ridiculous, but just being able to be there. And wearing that pea coat and wearing that scarf and being, yeah, so.
75 degrees outside.
Yeah.
I interviewed at Disneyland and they did not hire me, so. That's okay, because I worked at Skywalker Ranch, so they can suck it.
Yeah, may the force be with them, right?
Which is now Disney.
Which is now owned by Disney, so.
Justin, what are you doing?
That's way cooler, Heather.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
So 2008 was the first year that the Sandy Bottom was on the
Yep.
bar tour.
Yes.
And the first year that I had met you guys, but I still don't know the exact connection of how you heard about us with a tiki bar in our basement. Like, who was the person that
I don't
told you?
remember either.
Because basically I just heard that you heard.
Well,
about
I
us.
heard, I think someone told me about you, and
Who was that?
I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe Mark. I'm not. No, because we were looking for. Tiki Central? Did you post on Tiki Central? I can't remember. Because I remember meeting you somewhere, and it was like, oh, these guys are cool.
Who could we?
Marcy and Austin, maybe?
It was probably to them. Sandy. It either been Marcy or Austin or somebody because.
I think we met Sandy at your house, but it had to be Marcy and Austin.
I think it might have been Marcy and Austin. But that was.
It's probably Dancing Bear.
Yeah.
Comes back to the.
Or was the
Dancing
mid. No, because that was 08. Wow. I have no clue.
I'm always remembering because I just.
Oh my God, have we really never met before? Is this, we're gonna find out that it's, we were mysteriously.
You heard about it, then you came over, but I don't remember who that connection was. But I mean, regardless.
Bill Adams?
Bill Adam?
Maybe it was Bill.
I mean, it's not a very big town, and if you say I have a tiki bar in my basement, somebody's bound to say at a party, I know some other people who have a tiki bar. That's weird. I thought they were freaks, but it turns out you guys were both freaks. Well, but we didn't know you from Seattle because we'd been to Seattle on tiki events before then, but we didn't know
These
you.
kids met, and I'm
Yeah.
so thankful. We can't pinpoint the moment, but still, I was always wondering if you guys knew who that connection was.
No, I can't remember.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
once again, something I've just taken for granted, I guess.
Right, yeah. We just showed up at your house, so, you know, like, unannounced. We're like, hey, I brought these 50 people. They want to see your basement. Is that cool?
That's pretty much what you said.
Yeah, I know.
You guys going over to my place when I lived on
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
We're like, we gotta check out this place, and you guys came down, and
Well, we did like to check it out beforehand so that, you know, we didn't find anything weird or like, we thought that mostly it was to reassure the people that we were like nice people and that I know most of these people and only a couple of them are really weird and I'll keep a close eye on them. And I've never had any drugs stolen or anything broken. I've never had anything bad happen, so.
Is that the most important thing? Hey, at least no drugs were stolen.
Well, I've had drugs stolen at other parties. Does that not happen at your house?
That's why I don't have parties.
Yeah. Oh, Budgie. Rip Budgie. No, I wasn't pregnant in 2006. I was pregnant in 2008 and 2011. Yeah.
I remember we went to Thatch, and then like I think it was Mark Pedersen like scooped me up and took me to my house so I could get ready.
Yeah.
Just right in time.
Yeah, there was always there still is a lot of logistics because nobody wants to miss anything, and it's like you have to miss some part of it because, yeah, good old Mark Peterson. You should all visit. Mark Peterson has a shop on Northeast Fremont called Dr. Tongue's Toys. It's called Dr. Tongue's I Had That Shop, and it's all like vintage toys that you had. That's what everyone says. I had that.
Go spend money.
Yeah, go spend money. He's a good guy. What? Yeah, that's Mark Peterson. He's had a shop since like the 90s in Portland. Yeah.
Well, thank you all for coming.
Okay.
Let's get back to some drinking, guys. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Heather and Craig, thank you. Hey gang, this is Tiki with Ray, and I just want to say thank you very much for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more episodes, click on the subscribe button. And if you liked the video, give it a like. That would mean a lot to me. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave a comment in the comment section below.